Howdy, howdy, and welcome back. It's another Workshop Wednesday. This week's edition is a What's New edition. We're going to go through the latest updates to platforms like Google Analytics 4, Data Studio, and more, everything that came out in the past month or so. Before we go too far into this, welcome if this is your first Workshop Wednesday. My name is Chris Mercer. Everybody calls me Mercer. You should as well. I am the co-founder of a company called measurementmarketing.io, and however you found us, whether you found us through some of the podcasts or talks that we give out, maybe through some of the platforms that we share a select amount of our content with. Maybe you're already a member over at Measurement Marketing Academy or the Measurement Marketing Toolbox, but you obviously are there because you want to build a measurement culture, build your measurement muscles, and you're already a member over at measurementmarketing.io. However you found us, we're happy that you're here. It's our job to help people like you learn how to use all these crazy cool tools. And how do we actually do that? Well, we do that with our platform, the Measurement Marketing Academy. So if you are an organization, whether you're just by yourself or you've got a larger team, then you need measurement muscle. You want to make sure that your own organization has a measurement culture in-house. So you understand how to use measurement, including, of course, using all the cool tools like Tag Manager and Analytics and Data Studio and getting as much as you possibly can from your measurement efforts. We're happy to help you back there. That is our just-in-time learning platform. And to find more about that, you can just look in the link of the description in the YouTube video, and you'll be able to see options about the Measurement Marketing Academy. As with all of our training programs, including this one, just make sure you focus on one new thing. There's going to be a lot of different things that we're going to go through that have been updated. Use the one that's going to be more useful to you first. Practice that. Make sure it's a skill that you now own. And then you come back and rewatch this workshop. You can pick up another new skill after that. Remember, just one thing at a time. That's how you learn this stuff without getting overwhelmed and frustrated. All right, let's go ahead and dive in, shall we? What's new? The latest updates to Google Analytics, GA4 now, Data Studio, and so much more. At least everything that was released in April 2022. Now, of course, we're going to go ahead and dive right in as we always do with the framework. Remember, plan, we build, and we launch. We're all marketing in the blind. We're trying to get to a point where we are reliably growing our revenue and profits. How do we do this? We make sure we're asking the proper questions. We're collecting the information needed to get answers to those questions. And most importantly, we already know the actions we're going to take based upon the answers we get. We've role-played all that before. Then you go into the build, where you make sure your platform understands how to measure results. Now, pay attention to this workshop today because results have changed a little bit in GA4. You can make them a little bit easier now, so you'll see that today. Then you have to make sure that the platform understands your traffic, so you understand the who, what, and why when it comes to your traffic, and you stitch those together in a way that tells a natural story. Once you have your build complete, then you start using the thing. We listen to the conversation that's happening between the users and the website. Based on that conversation, we then forecast what our results should be, and then we measure against our forecast, and that's how we know what's working or what's not. In other words, that's how we know where to optimize and focus our efforts to improve our results. That's the measurement marketing framework in a nutshell. And with that, we're going to go ahead and bring on our guest instructor for today's workshop. It's Julie Brade. She is our lead instructor for measurementmarketing.io. She's been doing this forever, practically, in measurement years, since 2017. She's an account manager for dedicated measurement management clients. She's been training our private guided training clients for many years now. An absolute rock star when it comes to Data Studio, and quickly getting really used to GA4 and all the other stuff that all of us have had to do as these platforms continue to change and evolve. So Julie's found some really cool things she wanted to show you that were new updates that came through in April 2022 and thought, hey, why not? Let's go ahead and bring those on. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and let you share your screens and take it away, Julie Brade.
Thank you very much for that awesome introduction, Mercer. Let's go ahead and jump in to see what is new in April of 2022. First up, Google Analytics 4. What are we seeing in this particular platform? So normally when you go through and wanting to turn an event into a conversion, we have to go to configure, and then we have our events by default here, and then we would have to toggle on or off what our different particular preferences are for a conversion. So that's the way that has been done in the past. There is actually an easier way to do this now. So if we go to our reports, and then we go to engagement, because our events are an engagement, and then we go to our events, and the update says you will be able to mark a conversion on the event table. And so at first glance, it's like, well, how are we supposed to do that? And we can actually come over here and we see our three little dots, and our only option is to mark as a conversion for whatever this is, or we can unmark as a conversion. So we can very quickly come through here and have this. And so if we want to see, like let's say this one needs to be mark as a conversion, and we're going to switch that over, and we see it's been enabled as a conversion. So if I then want to go to configure, just to kind of see the list of everything that's a conversion, and we come over here, and this first visit is now marked as a conversion. The cool thing is it doesn't start like the count over again. And so that's kind of nice, especially if you're using reports, either the Explorer reports inside Data Studio. We have this information, and it doesn't kind of start from the moment we turn it on, kind of like how in Universal Analytics, the goal starts working from the moment you turn it on. So that seems to be nice. And so then if I come over here, toggle it off, and then we're going to circle back and go to the exact same one, and just to make sure that these reports talk to each other really quickly in real time, and so there's no confusion on what we're doing here. So we're going to give it a moment. And first visit, we are expecting that it's going to ask us to turn it on since we just turned it off. And perfect, mark as a conversion is there. So it does work either way. They go back and forth. If you turn one on in here, it's going to reflect in the configure reports. If you turn it off here, it will reflect there, and vice versa. So that is the newest update and how you can find it. Because again, the update just kind of says, hey, you can do it from the table, but it didn't give any directions of where we're supposed to do it on the table. So we figured it out for you, and so you can have that particular option. All right, let's figure out what else is new in April 2022. In Google Tag Manager, there wasn't really any major updates for those of you that are use browser-based Google Tag Manager, but if you're using server side, there was a little bit of an update where they basically mentioned that they're monitoring how users are using Google server side, but they aren't going to use any of that data without their consent. So if you need to if you're using Google server side, Google Tag Manager server side, then check out the privacy policy if that is something you need to be concerned with. So that's just a quick little note that they sent out, but no other updates besides that. Google Data Studio actually does have something a little bit fun, and I'm going to show you a little bit of a hack with this. So here we go. So if you're in datastudio.google.com, it's going to redirect you to this overview. We can go to Gallery because our update today is about the templates and what we can do with that. And so I'm just going to come over here to the marketing templates, and I'm going to look for Google Analytics because we all have access to a Google Analytics, even with the demo account that Google has. And so what we're just doing is opening up this report. And what we want to bring your attention to is this right here. We don't have access to a new feature that's saying, view with my data. So what we want to do is go up to the end of this URL and type in / and then put in the words preview. And then we're going to hit return, let it reload. You can see kind of doing some fun stuff up here. And then we have this option of use my own data. And so if this had a spreadsheet and it had Google Ads and everything like that, we would see these different icons here. And so now it's going to say use my own data, and I'm going to choose this option, and I'm going to come through and choose what the particular account and the view and everything that I want to choose here. And we're able to go ahead and do that, and it's going to swap it over. And then we can go and choose edit and share if we want to go ahead and make our own copy of it. And so now this is, it even has the words copy of, changes that for us. And then we are no longer in that same document. So it didn't open it up into a new tab. So you have to be kind of very aware of what's happening here. The words that we chose, that we clicked on, that was up here, it was edit and share. It did not say copy the document. So just let you know when you say edit and share, it's going to create a new document for you, and it's using your data source that you chose to use. And so we can see that right here, and it's using that. So let's choose something else that has more than one data source on here. And we can even, this is display. We want something that has a couple of different data sources in here. And so we're going to try one of these, because we're going to do the same trick. And if it's not already there, we don't have, or if it is already here, we don't have to add it. But if it wasn't here, we can add this preview here. And so you could still see it says use my own data. If there were more than one data source, we would be able to hover and it would have kind of a drop down. And in order to find one of those, we're actually going to come over here to the home, because I actually know exactly where one is at. And we're going to go to the template gallery here, and we can see it's labeled a little bit easier here. So we're going to click on this guy here, and again, because they're already kind of set up, those links are ready for those previews, we don't have to add it in there. And then as you can see, there is the icons for analytics and for sheets. So if I click on this guy, now we have replace data and replace data. This is the major update that happened in April, that it's making it easier for you to go ahead and do this. So it's going to be the same steps that we just showed. We're going to choose whichever one we want. And if we want to do that, we're going to choose, and it's going to add, and then the same concept with edit and share. We're going to give it a moment. I only had to click that once, and now we're going to edit and share, and it's going to do the exact same thing. We're in the same tab. It just changes the words to copy of, and now we are in our new document. And so if I go to another tab and say datastudio.google.com, where it's going to give us the list of all of our different ones, you can see here's the copy of that we just created. And so we can see here's our particular document with that one as well. So that's how you know where they are at. Another great update for Google Data Studio is in your data sources. You now have some more options for those of you that might be doing stuff with SQL or with Amazon Redshift, to be precise. So there are some more options with connectors back here. So just if you are using any of those, always kind of take a peek back here to see if a new connector is going to be something that you can use, or even a particular tool like CallRail is another one that used to only be Supermetrics, but now they have their own. Sometime in this past year, they've created their own. So always come through and just search, because maybe there might be a new option for you that might be a better one. Also, Google Ads has new fields that might be useful for you. There's new custom labels and product types and categories, and other different options as if you need those inside your Google Ads, from Google Ads inside Data Studio. So those are some new options for you as well. And those are your Google Data Studio updates for April. And as for Google Optimize, there weren't any updates inside April of 2022. However, I just wanted to make sure everyone is reminded that there have been some changes in the way the script has been suggested to be deployed over the years. At first, let's say there's probably been 4 different or 5 different iterations of how to put the script and the type of script and the way the script looks over the years. And so just if you're using Google Optimize, always make sure that you're using the most current way that they're suggesting to do that. You never want to have those type of flashes or flickers and or any sort of speed issues because of that. So always make sure you're using the most up-to-date version. And then what is new with our Measurement Marketing Academy? Well, in the month of April, we created a brand new course back there for you, When Google BigQuery Basics, for those of you that are needing this powerful tool to be able to store information and to reorganize that Google Analytics 4 data, or possibly lots of other different data, and then be able to report with it within inside Data Studio. So it's a great course for those of you that are needing that. So it's back there in our members area. What is coming up in May? So in a few weeks, we will be updating When Google Tag Manager server side. We already have that course back there in our membership site, but we are going to be updating this course for you so you have everything the latest and the greatest. And same thing for When Google Search Console in June. We're also going to be updating that course. So both of these courses are already back there, and they're both going to get updated in May and June so that you have the latest and greatest. And because there are changes to these platforms that are just making them better, and we're going to make sure that you always stay up to date in the Measure Marketing Academy. Also, an upcoming boot camp that we wanted to make sure that you know about. We'll be sending out emails to those of you that are on our list. So if you're not already on our list, make sure you're there. We have a 21-day Google Tag Manager boot camp that will be starting on May 23rd. So watch your emails and to get more information on that. But I will give you a heads up. It's going to be a Monday and Thursday live boot camp, and then you'll also have access to the instructors inside a Slack channel. So it's going to be very much a great accountability, twice weekly actual classes, the boot camps, and so we're going to definitely make sure that you get from not knowing anything about Tag Manager to being able to have all the basics and everything set up. And that's not just for Universal Analytics, it's also for GA4 and a lot of the basic things that you're going to need possibly with Facebook and other type stuff. So that is what's coming up inside the Measure Marketing Academy. Hope you guys will be able to join us for all of those. And so now I'm going to hand it back over to Mercer.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Julie. Again, she is in the Ask Instructor support system. So if you have any questions, if you're an Academy member already, be sure to ask Julie about any of these things. You can do that as well. And she also mostly hosts our measurement masterminds as well back there. So you can always bring that up with her back for those of you who are Measurement Marketing Academy students. Now, what was your one thing from this? I know for me, I think out of everything, I really thought the coolest one was actually the Data Studio hack, because I like things like that, where it's like, oh, put this word in the preview in the URL and you're off to the races. But for me, it was really the GA4 conversion, marking an event as a conversion, making it easier and simpler to set things up back there. And you just can't go wrong with that. I know Google's putting a massive amount of effort into really improving the user interface for GA4. And this is just a small step, but it shows they are clearly heading in this direction, thinking about user interface with that platform. So if you haven't already, make sure that you do that. Now, remember, how does what you just learned, how can you use it in the actual framework, right? The measurement framework. Well, for sure, results in the build. Now it's easier to turn on conversion events, right? That's perfect. When it comes to building your story and you're trying to listen to the conversation, that's where some of these templates that Data Studio has might come in handy. So if one doesn't have that little preview in the URL, you can now grab it, use it for inspiration. At the very least, you can copy it and then see how they put that dashboard together, so that you can maybe learn a few tricks around Data Studio itself. And of course, we learned about Optimize with Google Optimize and maybe some of that server-side stuff that might come into play if you're using Tag Manager server-side as well. Now, next week's workshop is creating GA4 views using Data Studio. So we're going to show you, because that's unfortunately still something that they do not yet have. They do have this sort of weird sub-property thing that they're trying to do, but they currently do not have views in GA4. So we're going to be using Data Studio for that, so we can take advantage of the power of views. But we're going to do it with GA4 and Data Studio, a little power duo. So we'll talk more about that in next week's workshop. If you want that, all you need to do is make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are so close to 4,000 subscribers. Thank you all for getting us up this far and for continuing to share and leave those incredibly kind comments, the suggestions on topics that you're interested in, the questions. We do see them all. Again, we're not able to respond to every single comment, but I do read them all personally. So please keep leaving those there. And thank you so much for all of those who continue to do that and to share the channel and to help us grow. Now, you also have the option of the Measurement Marketing Toolbox, of course. You see all the Workshop Wednesdays back there. Julie also mentioned, this is, if you're on our list with the Toolbox, it's a great way to get on list. It's completely free. Get a ton of measurement tools. tools. The only thing we really ask is that you participate, use it at least once every 90 days or so, or else we'll ask you to make space for somebody else if it's not something that you need anymore, which is perfectly fine. But it is completely free to get there. Just go to measure.tips/WW. It'll ask for your name and an email address. It'll set up an account for you, send you your password, and then you're off to the races. And at that point, you will also be notified about all of the other training programs that we have. So whether it's a new Win course coming out or these boot camps that we're doing. So they've been pretty popular. We've already done one on Google Analytics 4 earlier. I'm sure we'll do another one later this year. We've also done one on Data Studio. We'll do another one probably later this year. And then Tag Manager, that's actually coming up next in just a couple of weeks from now. So if you want to get notified of those, definitely get on the list. Measure.tips/WW to create your free Toolbox membership and get those updates. Also, of course, now is the chance to think about maybe the Measurement Marketing Academy, if that's right for you. There is so much to the Academy besides the courses. We've got courses on every single platform that's out there in the Googleverse. And we have all of the different courses that are available specifically to measurement. I shouldn't say every single platform that's out there, but specifically to measurement. So analytics, Tag Manager, server side, Data Studio, Google Optimize, all that fun stuff back there. But we also have the Ask an Instructor support system that's back there. We've got on-demand workshops back there. We've got plenty of these member-only tools that are available to you back there. So much that's back there. Its whole mission in life is designed to help you get through the framework and to learn how to build your own measurement muscle in your own organization. So please take a look at the Academy. Again, measure.tips/getacademy to learn more about the current offers that are back there. And we look forward to having you a part of the Measurement Marketing Academy soon. With that, we'll go ahead and bring this one to a close. This has been What's New? The latest updates to Google Analytics, Data Studio, and more. Thanks again for watching this workshop, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.